Hello and welcome to the weekly review covering the latest information about Star Citizen from official sources that happened this week. We will have an anniversary special tomorrow as part of the news covering everything that happened on that live stream. And we already have a video guide to the anniversary sale, so please check that out. Lots of questions were answered as always in 10 for the Chairman's 70. Swapping the P-52 to the P-72 Archimedes. They haven't decided whether you can upgrade the P-52 from the Constellation to the P-72 or not at the moment, but they will both be able to dock with the Constellation, though the docking for the Constellation won't be in Alpha 2.0, it's more likely to be in 2.1. Escape pods will not be functional in 2.0. Longer term, after 2.1, they will though, hopefully. The larger ships, you'll have a few moments when the ship is going down to be able to escape. This could be EVAing a way out of an airlock or using some form of escape pod. The pod has a tracker or tag on it, allowing you to be safely recovered when there's no more danger left in the area. Otherwise, you would have to have stayed in that ship and if that ship had blown up, you would have lost a life and you would wake up in a hospital. In Alpha 2.0, there will be full suits of armour, obviously light, medium and heavy, but this is temporary. The armour is planned to be modular, or in pieces, so that you can choose what parts of your body will be heavily or more lightly armoured. Hits and damage are literally based on where they hit you in game, so it's all physics based, all materials based, and this will all come in the future in the newer refactored items that will be in 2.2. Chris hasn't done a GDC or a game developers conference for a while, unless you count the one in Europe. He has, however, been very consistent on his views with community involvement, and he sees this taken to heart by some developers. He feels the project has opened some people's eyes to the possibilities with crowdfunding and gaming. Landing on Crusader and other planets in 2.0 isn't going to happen. They're going to have planetary landings next year, and it'll be much better than what we saw in 2014. More freedom from space down to planets is the plan, and it's all going to be seamless. So some tech has come together, and we're going to see lots more of that early next year. Extreme ship maneuvers and physics. Longer term, Chris wants there to be more violent maneuvers in multi-cruise ships, and if you're not strapped into a seat, you're going to get thrown around a lot. This isn't going to be in 2.0, but it's not that difficult to implement. So in the future, we're going to have people that aren't strapped to the seats. When you do very quick maneuvers, they're going to be flying around the ship and might die. If you've purchased items with UEC or real money, all of those items are permanent and will carry across into the persistent universe. Anything you purchase with a temporary currency will not. Items may still get rebalanced and changed though, so keep that in mind. In 2.0, when you get into a ship, you'll turn it on, the HUD will boot up, and after the thrusters have spooled up, you'll be able to fly it. Longer term, they are looking at a more interactive cockpit. Not just the screens will be interactive, but you will also be able to turn buttons and switches on and off, and interact with holoscreens too. They won't go too crazy on this interactivity though. They want the game to be accessible and relatively simple learning curve wise. There may be automatic modes of flight and takeoff that you can use or turn on and off to get more or less control. Voice commands in game-wise, in the short term, there's been some really amazing voice attack profiles made by the community, so you can use voice attack to get in-game voice commands. There is also an audio roadmap for actually Star Citizen in the longer term, so voice commands are planned to be implemented. It's too early to call what systems and planets players will be allowed to start in the full release anyway. There will be restrictions where you can start. It's likely to be the larger planets and systems in the UEE space. Right now, there's obviously one starting location in the Stanton system for Alpha 2.0, but this is all likely to change in the future. They will factor in the full release that some people want to be criminals or start outside the typical UEE space for some reasons. In Reverse the Verse episode 72, there was a load of delicious information given. Star Citizen Alpha 2.0 is on the PTU. Initially, 1,000 lucky testers were invited. That has now been increased to a total of 6,000 for this weekend, so check your emails. The newest build of the PTU patch 2.0 is now out. If the live build isn't ready early next week, the PTU is planned to expand to 20,000 players. They won't manually add people to that PTU list though. DevOps have generated that list to help test the game. So people that have been active on the issue council, for example, are more likely to get in. There's no extra special treatment given to streamers or YouTubers or anything like that. There is also no NDA for Star Citizen Alpha 2.0 PTU, so post your pictures, videos, and your experiences freely. Every day up to and including the 29th of November, there is a sale of some kind on, giving you access to some previously limited ships. The ship sale and discount packages for each day start at 9 AM Eastern Time, and at this time there are 1,000 cheaper or discount starter packages for Aurora MRs available. They sell out very quickly, so just be aware of that. 20% off physical merchandise has been extended until Saturday the 28th. The CCUs for the Avenger variants were broken. They might be fixed now. I was having issues with them earlier. So that's the Warlock and the Titan. So if you can't get them, don't worry. You'll be able to get them by the end of the sale somehow. The Avenger variants are similar to the Retaliator modules. So in the future, you'll be able to outfit any Avenger however you want. They've just bodged them as like entirely different variants for the sale, as far as I'm aware. There are many gun changes incoming, a lot being on the larger side. The Titan might have 2 size 3 weapons on its wings, for example. They do need to check with the UK. Fixed the Avenger pricing, so if you bought a Warlock or a Titan before they fix that, you'll get store credit back. So for example, I bought my Warlock for $115 rather than $85. They will automatically credit you back the store credit, or you can request a cash refund through CS. Reliant variants may be coming as early as December. It's one of the next things out. And the Carrack is going back to get its interior done shortly. They've got assets free to get that Carrack done. They also gave us some more HOTAS and SciTech information. We will talk about that in a lot more detail tomorrow in the news, all about the HOTAS and all that jazz. So the keyboard is not cherry switches. It is a mechanical keyboard though, with no clack. So think similar to cherry red switches. The high-end HOTAS is coming, but they are concentrating on the mid-end one and the keyboard currently. The price of the higher-end HOTAS is likely to be around the $550 mark, although Sandy does need to confirm that. They weren't wowed by any of the headsets or mice that SciTech had pitched them, but in the future, who knows? Sandy is unsure if any of these peripherals are left-hand friendly. She will need to check. They are expanding the referral system program for 25, 42, 100, 250 and 1,042 referrals. We also know that 42 referrals will be giving you a racing pack. We're not sure exactly what's in there, but more details soon. And 1,042, that's a lot of referrals, will give you entry into the Million Mile High Club. They hit 95 million in crowdfunding, and at time of recording for me, it stands at 95.3 million. They had the final versions of the Concierge Black cards, the little metal printed cards, back for putting in your wallets, but they've already sold out, so that's kind of academic. Sandy has a fake tattoo on her neck. It was for an audition that she had on the weekend. Sandy's character on Squadron 42 got a mohawk. She was incredibly excited about that. There are going to be live Q&A sessions next week from their new office. Find out more on Monday. And they are still desperate for 3D artists. Go to cloudimperiumgames.com/jobs. There are lots of jobs there, but they're specifically after anyone that you might think be appropriate for a 3D artist position. We got lots of information on the Unmelt tool as well. So this is an automated tool that will allow you to unmelt ships that you had previously melted into store credit or for some reason. So customer service are no longer taking melt requests. You will have to do all of that through the new tool once it's ready, so you'll have to wait until that is ready. Unmelting requests were really clogging up customer support, so they apologise for anyone that was rating patiently, like me, and didn't get their ship unmelted in time, as it were, but it won't be too long until we can do that. You will be able to unmelt battlefield upgrade kits, pods, ship modules, as well as ships. Remember, this all may be subject to change. This is just what the official sources have told us. They haven't really been specific on upgrades and CCUs, so be wary of that. It won't be possible to unmelt packages that have physical components, such as the Rear Admiral pledge. There may also be other restrictions to maintain integrity of the system, but the tool is for pledgers' convenience, so there won't be any charges or unnecessary limits on it. Unmelts will only be available at the entry level it was bought in. For example, if you bought a Warden, so a Vanguard Warden, and then applied an upgrade to it, you wouldn't be able to unmelt it as the upgraded version. You would only get to be able to unmelt it at the Warden. In the same vein, if you had bought a Vanguard Sentinel, you would only be able to unmelt it as a Sentinel. If you then upgraded it to the Harbinger, you would still only be able to unmelt it as the Sentinel. And your store quota will only be charged, obviously, the value of the ship. No upgrades or anything that were applied. You're melting it at its level that it was originally bought at. Tomorrow in the news, we will talk all about Squadron 42. We'll talk about Mark Hamill's character. We'll talk about John Rhys-Davies' character. We'll talk about the HOTAS. And we'll talk a lot about Alpha 2.0. It'll be all the stuff from that live stream combined with all of my playtesting on that 2.0 Alpha PTU. There will be spoilers, so be aware of that. If you don't want spoilers, then I'll try and put codes to skip. That's a good idea. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help me. And I will see you in the verse.